You wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Not because you have to, because that's just what happens now. Your phone is already buzzing, not texts from friends, alerts, markets in Tokyo moved overnight, your portfolio manager left a voicemail at 4 a.m. 3 emails from lawyers about a deal that's been running for 11 months. You are worth $1.2 billion, and your first thought of the day is the same thing it was when you had nothing. Is this going to be okay? That's the thing nobody tells you about becoming a billionaire. The anxiety doesn't leave, it just upgrades. The stakes get bigger, the decisions get heavier, and the number of people whose lives depend on your next move grows by the thousands. So let's do this properly. Congratulations, you're a billionaire. Here's what your life actually looks like. Your alarm goes off at 5:30, same time every day. Discipline is one of the few things that got you here that money can't replace. You work out first. Not in a public gym, you have one in the house, full setup, a trainer comes to you 3 days a week. On the other days, you do it alone. The trainer costs $120,000 a year. You don't blink at that anymore. Breakfast is prepared by a private chef. Not because you can't cook, because your time is worth more than the 30 minutes it would take you to make eggs. Someone calculated it once. At your net worth, every hour of your day is worth roughly $580,000 in opportunity cost. You can't afford to scramble eggs. You eat alone most mornings. The house is big, 14,000 square feet on 9 acres behind a gate. Your security team does a sweep of the property before you come downstairs. You don't ask them to, they just do it. That's the new normal. You have 34 people on your household payroll. Housekeepers, groundskeepers, 2 private chefs on rotation, a house manager, drivers, an IT team just for the security systems, a personal assistant who has her own assistant. 34 people show up to your home every day to make your life run, and most mornings you don't see a single one of them. Here's what $1 billion actually looks like. If you stacked $1 billion in $100 bills, the pile would be 3,583 feet tall. That's taller than the Burj Khalifa, 3 times over. If you spent $10,000 every single day starting from the day you were born, you would not reach $1 billion until you were 274 years old. Your money makes money faster than you can spend it. Even in the most boring investments on earth, conservative estimates put your daily portfolio growth at somewhere between $80,000 and $150,000. You wake up richer than when you went to sleep, every single morning, without touching anything. But here's where most people get the math wrong about wealth. $1 billion is not just a big number. It is a completely different relationship with money. The rules that govern how normal people think about finances simply do not apply anymore. When you were building this, every dollar had weight. Every decision had consequence. You tracked expenses, you stressed about cash flow, you said no to things. Now your accountant calls a $2 million decision a rounding error. Your legal team settles a lawsuit for $800,000, not because it was legitimate, but because fighting it in court would have cost more in distraction. You paid $800,000 to make a nuisance go away, and then you went back to your lunch meeting. That's the reality of what $1 billion does to your relationship with money. It doesn't disappear. It transforms, and most people who dream about it never account for what they're trading to get there. You want coffee, just coffee, from the place 3 blocks from your old apartment, the one you went to every morning for 6 years before any of this. The barista knew your order. The corner booth was always yours on Sunday mornings. Your head of security needs 45 minutes of advance notice. He needs to send a team ahead to sweep the location. He needs to brief the 2 agents who will be with you inside. He needs to clear a secondary exit in case something happens. You ask what the threat level is. He says you have received 14 credible threats in the last 90 days. Not anonymous internet comments, credible threats, the kind that get logged with law enforcement. You skip the coffee. Mark Zuckerberg spends $26.8 million a year on personal security. That's not a typo. $26.8 million. Every year, because at a certain level of wealth, you are not just a person anymore. You are a target. And that changes how you move through the world in ways that never fully leave you. You start doing everything at home. Or in controlled environments, your world gets smaller as your net worth gets bigger. The freedom you thought money would buy starts to feel like a different kind of cage. Your phone rings constantly, but it's never your college roommate calling to grab dinner. It's your CFO, your board members, your PR team, heads of state who want your name attached to something, charity directors who need a check, lawyers who need 20 minutes to explain why they need 3 hours. The people from before start to change around you. Not all at once, slowly, carefully, the way someone takes small, careful steps around someone they're not sure about. Your oldest friend from college comes to visit. You fly him out on your Gulfstream G700. The jet costs $75 million. He compliments everything the whole weekend: the house, the car, the wine. He agrees with everything you say for 2 straight days. He used to argue with you about everything: sports, politics, which direction to walk home from the bar. That was the whole friendship. But now when you say something, he just nods and laughs a little too quickly and never pushes back. You fly him home and you feel more alone than before he came. Research on extreme wealth shows that billionaires are 50% more likely to feel isolated than their peers, not because they are physically alone, but because the quality of every relationship shifts the moment the money becomes public. Everyone is still there. They just relate to you differently now. You stop being a person in most people's eyes. You become an opportunity, a resource, a door. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. In every new handshake, in every smile that comes too fast, in every favor that's framed as a question but is really a request. You start auditing your relationships the same way you audit your balance sheet. Your brother calls. He doesn't ask for anything directly, he never would. But he mentions the roof is giving him trouble, and the car is making a noise, and he's had a slow quarter at work. You transfer $400,000 into his account that afternoon. You don't think twice about it. He doesn't call to say thank you. 3 months later, at a family dinner you flew everyone to, he sits at the far end of the table. He talks to your cousins, your aunt, anyone but you. When you try to catch his eye, he's looking at his plate. He leaves before dessert, without saying goodbye. Your mom calls you the next week. Quieter than usual, she tells you your brother said something to a cousin. Something about how the money changed everything, about how he can't talk to you the same way anymore because every conversation now has a weight to it that wasn't there before. You sent him $400,000 and lost your brother, not because you did anything wrong, but because money changes the architecture of relationships in ways that are almost impossible to reverse. The gap between your lives isn't something you can close with a bank transfer. Sometimes the transfer is exactly what widens it. This is one of the most documented and least discussed realities of extreme wealth. The families that survive it intact are not the ones where the money was shared most generously. They're the ones where the conversations about money happen first. Let's talk about what $1 billion actually costs you to maintain in a single year. Your primary residence costs $4.2 million annually to operate. Staff, utilities, maintenance, security systems, that's just to keep the lights on. Your Gulfstream G700 costs $4.5 million a year to operate. Fuel, crew, maintenance, hangar. Every time you board, the base cost is around $10,000 annually for a basic operation. More if you travel internationally or attend large public events. Your legal team on retainer costs $3.6 million a year, and that's before anything happens. That's just to have them ready. Your family office, the private team that manages your investments, your tax structure, your trusts, your philanthropic vehicles, that's $2.8 million annually. Total cost to maintain your life at the $1 billion level before you buy a single luxury item, roughly $22 million a year. And here's what that means. If your wealth is not actively growing, it is shrinking. Billionaires don't coast, they run. The infrastructure alone demands it. The myth is that the money buys you freedom. The reality is that past a certain number, the money buys you a more expensive treadmill. Then the lawsuits start. Not one or two. Your legal team tells you to expect a new filing every 3 to 4 weeks once your wealth becomes public record. An old business partner claims you owe him 8% of a deal from 7 years ago that he had nothing to do with. A woman in a different state says you promised her a role in a company at a charity event. You have never met her. A former employee says the NDA you both signed is unenforceable. Your lawyers call most of it frivolous, but frivolous doesn't mean free. Each one costs 6 figures to defend, each one lands at a headline, each one requires your deposition, your attention, your name. You settle 3 of them, not because they have merit, because settling is cheaper than the media damage of a trial. $500,000 here, $1.2 million there. Rounding errors. But every settlement is reported, and every report generates 5 more filings. By year 2, your legal budget alone crosses $8 million annually. You have never met most of the lawyers who work on your cases. They send you summaries on Fridays, pages and pages of people who want what you have and are willing to stand in a courtroom to get it. And you can't stop it. You can only manage it. That's the job now. Something else happens that nobody warns you about. You lose the version of yourself that wanted this. When you were building, you had a vision. You knew what you were working toward. Every sacrifice made sense because it was in service of something. The drive felt clean, purposeful, like momentum. But once you arrive, the target disappears. Therapists who work exclusively with ultra-high net worth individuals report the same thing consistently. The most common psychological challenge is not stress or anxiety. It's the loss of purpose. When financial survival is no longer the driver, and when most material goals are instantly achievable, the question that surfaces is the one that money cannot answer. What am I actually for? It sounds abstract until you're standing at the window of your 14,000 square foot house at 3 in the morning and you can't sleep, and the only sound is a security camera at the end of the hall adjusting as it tracks your movement. You stop, it stops, you take a step, it follows. You go outside, the grass is wet and cold, you walk to the middle of the lawn and look up. Same sky you used to look at when the rent was 2 weeks late and you didn't care. Same stars, same depth, same silence. Everything underneath them has changed, and you are trying to figure out if any of it made you more yourself or less. Here's why this matters to you, right now, today, because the psychology of extreme wealth is not a cautionary tale. It is a financial education. Every decision a billionaire makes is an amplified version of a decision you will face at some point in your own financial life. The family dynamics, you will face that the first time your income meaningfully outpaces your siblings. The identity collapse, you will feel a version of that the first time you pay off your debt and realize the goal that kept you disciplined is gone. The security trap, every upgrade in lifestyle has a cost and flexibility that most people don't calculate until they're locked in. The legal exposure, the moment you have anything worth protecting, whether that's a business, a real estate portfolio, or accumulated savings, the structure around it matters more than the number itself. Billionaires don't fail because they run out of money. They fail because they didn't build the right systems around it. They didn't protect the relationships that mattered. They didn't maintain purpose past the initial goal. They confused net worth with identity and lost both when the market turned. The wealth habits that work at $1 billion are the exact same habits that work at $50,000. You just have less margin for error when the number is smaller. Which means if you build the disciplines now, at your level, you're not just building wealth. You are building something that scales. You go back inside, past a pool you've used 4 times, past the tennis court you've never touched, past a wine cellar with bottles that cost more than most people's monthly mortgage payment. You sit down at the desk, 7 screens, your portfolio, your companies, a news ticker that has your name in it twice in the first 30 seconds. Outside, the security team does a shift change. The groundskeeper arrives at 6 a.m. 34 people are on their way to your property right now. You are the only one who lives here. The money is real. The freedom is complicated. And the version of this that actually works, the version where the number and the life are both things you choose, that is built long before the billion. It is built in the decisions you make today, the accounts you fund, the habits you protect, the relationships you keep honest, the identity you build that does not depend on the balance sheet to tell you who you are. That's not inspiration. That's the actual job. If you want to understand the specific order of operations for building wealth that survives the psychology of money, not just the math of it, this channel is where we do that work. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.